Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette and the custom brush that we are using for the brick texture on our wall. So they are both linked in the description below, totally free to download. Just with the color palette, open it up and it'll automatically pop into Procreate. With the brush, you just need to go into your brush library, click the plus icon, and then click import, and then find the brush wherever it's saved on your iPad. So take a minute to go and get that all ready, and then come back and we will get started. Okay, first things first, we will go over our canvas dimensions. They are 8 inches wide by 10 inches high at 300 dpi or 2400 by 3000 pixels. The color profile that we're on is the second one on the RGB list. And for our layers today, we've used about 20 layers by the end of the video, so make sure you have at least that many available by checking here. If you do not, you can always lower your DPI here to get more layers. This is our color palette that we're working with for this video. You can change the color of your door or the flowers. I think that would be really cool to mess around with the colors of those, but you can do that later when we get there. So let's just first set our background layer color. Let's go to our layer menu, click on this background color layer, and click the first color on the first row. It's just a little bit off-white. Then we are first going to use our custom brick brush that you should have downloaded. So we will be on layer 1 for this. We will grab the second color on the top row. So go ahead and find the brick brush, and we are just going to set that to, it's just going to create a pattern. So just go ahead and set it all the way up, and then just go all over your screen with this without lifting your pen, so that it just creates one nice layer of bricks. Make sure your canvas is straight up and down and it's not angled at all, otherwise it might angle your pattern, and we don't want that. Okay, that's the first step all done. So let's go to the layer menu, add a new layer, grab the third color on the top row, and we're just going to make the ground in front of our door. So let's grab the selection tool, set it to rectangle with color fill turned on. And we're just going to start on the outside of this bottom corner here and drag all the way across and up a little bit, maybe like 3 bricks worth of size, and then let it go to fill that in. Now we will go ahead and draw our door. So we will go ahead and add a new layer. Let's drag it below our ground layer here. Grab the first color on the second row. Grab our selection tool again with rectangle and color fill turned on. And this time we'll start right here where we made our ground, and we'll start a little bit below it since our layer is behind it. It'll be underneath, so let's just start somewhere around here, about, halfway between the left side and the middle, right about there. And we'll just draw up and over to create a nice big rectangular door shape about this big, something about like that, and let it go to fill in. And then we'll click the arrow tool, make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left, and we will drag this over until we see the vertical yellow line, letting us know that it's centered in the middle of the screen from left to right. Make sure that it goes a little bit underneath the ground here so that it's cut off very nicely. You don't want it above the ground, obviously, where there would be a space there, so let's just have it about right here. Then let's go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this door layer, so slide left and click duplicate. On the one on the bottom, select that one, grab the fourth color on the second row, and drag and drop it to fill it in. You won't see it because it's behind our yellow layer, but click the arrow tool, set it to freeform, and then use the corners to drag it up and over so that we can see this layer behind it to kind of create the little border for our door. Make sure that it looks even on each side. And then let's go ahead and just move it around to make sure it's in the center, left to right, where we see the yellow vertical line again. And leave it there. While we're on this layer, let's go ahead and click on it and turn on Alpha Lock. And then we are going to grab the 5th color on the 2nd row. And we are going to grab the soft brush under the airbrushing category. And we are going to set that to maybe 7 or 8%, somewhere in there. And we are just going to very lightly drag this all around the inside of our shape where it meets our door to create a nice little shadow there. Just to give the illusion that it goes in deeper where our door is. If you did too much, you can always go back in with your 4th color on the 2nd row that we used at first, and then start on the outside and kind of fill in from there to add that back in if you need to. But let's go ahead and continue. We are now going to draw our steps in front of the door. So let's go ahead and add a new layer above all of our layers. And we will grab the 4th color on the top row. Selection tool again with rectangle and color fill turned on, and we are going to draw a rectangle just right in front of the bottom of our door, covering up a little bit of the bottom of our door as well, and going into our ground layer. Click the arrow tool and center it again from left to right where we see the vertical yellow line, and maybe just position it wherever you see fit, like so. We'll grab the arrow tool again, click distort this time, and we are going to use the bottom right corner here, drag it out, straight out to the right just a little bit, trying to keep it pretty in line with where it was before, and then do the same thing on the left side, again trying to keep it nice and horizontal on the bottom here. And once that is where you like it, we will go ahead and click on this layer on the layer menu, turn on Alpha Lock, and add a highlight to this now. So let's grab the 1st color on the 1st row, same soft brush that we had before, and we will drag this just kind of along the front, or I guess bottom of our rectangle that we had here to add a little bit of a highlight there. Okay, and then next we will go to our layer menu, add a new layer, drag it below our weird rectangle that we just made, so it should just be the 2nd one on our list now. Grab the 5th color on the top row, grab our rectangle tool again with color fill turned on, and we'll just start on the bottom corner of this rectangle, draw across to the other corner, and then let it go. It's okay if it's not perfect. Let's go ahead and grab our arrow tool, set it to freeform, and we are just going to make sure snapping is turned on, and then drag it up to meet our rectangle above it, and then drag each side until they snap to the corner. So it should snap right where that other rectangle ends. You might have to drag it up a little bit further so that it's nice and below it, and there's no gap in between them. So now it should look like this. Again, we will click on this layer now, turn on Alpha Lock, grab the 4th color on the top row, use our soft brush, and just very lightly drag this on the top section, like the top half, to add a little bit of a highlight there, just to give it a little something. Next, we will go to this layer here that was our main ground layer. Click on it, turn on Alpha Lock. Now that we have that all laid out the way that we like it, we will grab the 6th color on the 1st row, same soft brush, and we will just lightly add this around where the steps are, all the way around, just to add a little bit of a shadow there as well. Okay, now that we have everything pretty well laid out, we are going to work on our door, all of the details to it. So let's go back to our yellow door layer. First, let's click on it and turn on Alpha Lock. Let's grab the 2nd color on the 2nd row, and this is our shadow color again, so let's focus on the edges of the door, not the bottom edge, just the top, right, and left side. And we'll just lightly add a little bit of a shadow there, like so. Then with this same color, we are going to switch our brush to the dry ink brush under the inking category. Let's set it to maybe 20%, and we are just going to make 3 vertical lines going through the door. So let's first start about in the middle. Let's just draw a line straight from top to bottom, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. You can click edit shape here if you need to and move it around, but get it about right in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty close. Grab our pen tool again, and now we will kind of split this half in half again with another vertical line. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Again, click edit shape if you need to move it. Mine looks pretty good though, so I will just move on and do the same thing on the left side here. Touch my finger to the screen, and again, that looks pretty centered there, so I will leave that alone. Okay, still on this same door layer, we are going to grab the third color on the second row, and we are going to switch our brush again, this time to the turpentine brush under the painting category. We will have that set to maybe 10 to 15%, and I'm just going to very lightly use this to kind of make some little texture vertically throughout the door. Not messing with my lines too much, just kind of going around them, but to add some nice, just kind of grainy looking areas. Just about like that, very simple, nothing too crazy. And that is it for like all the door texture and stuff. So now let's go ahead and add the window. So let's add a new layer above our door layer. Let's grab the first color on the last row. Again, our rectangle brush with color fill turned on. And we will just go ahead and draw kind of a square-like shape starting a little bit down and a little bit to the right inside here. And just about a good, like, more square shape, but can be kind of rectangular too, and then let that go. Click the arrow tool and let's just go ahead and center it where we see our vertical yellow line. And you can definitely resize it if you would like to. I'll do mine maybe about like this. Kind of trying to make it equal distance on the top as we have on the sides. Like so. Now we will go ahead and again click on this layer, set it to alpha lock. Grab the second color on the last row, and we are going to switch back to our soft brush under the airbrushing category. Again at about 7 or 8%, and just very lightly drag this on the sides all around to create a little bit of a shadow there. Now with this same color, we're going to add a new layer, and we are going to make the little metal swirlies inside. So on our new layer here, same second color on the last row on our color palette, we're going to switch back to our dry ink brush under the inking category at about 15 to 20%. And we are going to turn on symmetry for this. So let's go to our gear icon, click to turn on the drawing guide, click edit drawing guide, click symmetry, and it should show a vertical line. But if not, you might need to switch it to vertical under this options category, and then go ahead and click done. Go back to our layer menu and make sure that this layer that we're on now above our window layer says assisted underneath it. If it does not, you can click on it and turn on drawing assist. But we are just going to probably do a few like trial and errors to get a nice swirly line. We'll need to move our brush pretty quick, and they're going to meet in the middle a couple of times, but I'll pop a picture down in the bottom left to show what the shape will look like when we're done. But I'm going to start in this upper right corner here. So I'm going to start here, swirl down, touch the edge, touch the top, touch the middle, go back out, touch the side, touch the bottom, touch the middle again, and then swirl in like this. So I'm going to do that a lot faster now and hopefully get a good shape, but that's what we're going for. about like that. It doesn't have to be anything too perfect, and the good thing is we can always use our arrow tool if we need to adjust it. So mine kind of went outside the lines just a little bit, so I am just going to set it to freeform and kind of snap everything just inside of my square here so it touches all of our edges, including like it didn't quite touch the top. So you can make a few adjustments if you were pretty close. Okay, and then now we will add the other few little things on the door. So let's just go ahead and add a new layer. Grab the third color on the last row of our color palette, grab our rectangle tool again with color fill turned on, and we are just going to make this small little rectangle that's right underneath our window here in the middle. Click the arrow tool and move it to the center where we see our vertical yellow line, and just right under the window there. And we'll add a new layer on our layer menu. Same color. Let's grab the selection tool again. This time let's set it to ellipse with color fill turned on. And we are going to make the start of our doorknob by just making a vertical oval about like this, and then let it go. If you need to move it around, you can click the arrow tool, but I will probably have it just about right here is fine. And then we will go to our layer menu, add another new layer, grab the fourth color on the last row, the lighter brown. And this time we will use our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. Let's go ahead and set that to just 20%. And we're going to draw a perfect circle for our doorknobs. Draw a circular shape here, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle, and then go ahead and fill it in. And then we can use our arrow tool, set to uniform to resize it if necessary, and kind of just place it in the middle of our oval here, so it should go out on both sides, left and right, but you should see the oval behind it. Something about like that. Go ahead and make any other adjustments if you need to. I am going to move my everything just up a little bit on my door. But that is actually it for our door. So you can now, if you want to, go ahead and mess around with any other color options. One thing that I like to do, since we did all the yellow and darker yellow colors on the same door layer here, you can click on this layer, click the wand tool, click this hue, saturation, brightness, and you can move this hue thing around a little bit to try out different colors. Like maybe this purpley color is kind of pretty. You can adjust the saturation if it's too bright, adjust the darkness if you want, or the light, make it darker or lighter. I kind of like to mess around with that. And you could try different colors on the door. So I will go ahead and undo and leave mine yellow, but feel free to mess around with that if you would like to. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move on. So now we'll do the branches and the leaves and flowers to kind of fill out the rest of our picture, and we'll just add those on top of all of our layers. So let's add a new layer way up top. Grab the fifth color on the last row, this brown, and we will use our monoline brush still. We'll move the size up to maybe 50, and we are going to go ahead and make just our branch shapes. So I think the first one here, I will start maybe right above my door here, kind of make it curve down off the screen like this around my door frame. Then I'll just make another one right next to it to kind of thicken it up and fill it in. It does not have to be perfect. We're going to cover most of this up with leaves and flowers, but we just kind of want a general idea of where they're all going to go in a general kind of direction. And we will see some peaks of the branches behind our leaves and flowers. So then I'll just start here and kind of make some little branches off and fill in as I go. So again, it looks kind of ugly, to be honest, but that is okay. I might just make it a little bit longer here so this main branch sticks out further. And then we'll make a kind of smaller one on the other side. So I might just kind of start close to where this one ended and kind of curve in and down off the side over here. And then again, first gonna make another one next to it to just thicken it up right away. And then we'll start making some other ones off of it. Again, that one's kind of smaller, but that looks pretty good. Okay, so next we will add a new layer on top of that. Grab our 6 color on the last row, and we are going to draw our leaves with this. We are going to use the Snow Gum brush under the organic category. Let's set that to maybe 70%, and we are just going to kind of tap around very lightly all over our branches here, kind of in little sections to add some nice leaves. I'm not dragging my brush, otherwise they get way too thick. So just kind of tapping here and there in sections to add some of this. Maybe about like that. Then let's go ahead and add a new layer on top of that. Grab the 7th color on the last row, our bright pink. Again, this is a good opportunity to use different colors if you would like to. I am going with pink. And we are going to switch to the Mad Splashes brush under the water category. We are going to have that set to about 15%. And again, we are just going to kind of tap around in sections to add this dark pink. This will be our first like base flower color, and then we'll add some more on top of it in different colors to give it a more variety. But let's get a good amount of this down first to create a nice base. Again, just kind of tapping, because if you drag it, it just gets to be a little too much sometimes. And then on this same layer, we're just going to layer all of these. So if you want to use separate layers, you can. If you feel like you might want to move them or redo them, go ahead and put them on separate layers. But I'm just going to stick all on the same layer here. Grab the next color in line, the 8th one on the last row, and do the same thing, same size, just kind of going on top of where my other ones were. A little bit less this time, but still a good amount. We don't want to cover up all of our dark pink, just, add this as more variety. And then let's grab the 9th color on the last row, the lightest one, and we will do just a little bit of this, not nearly as much as we did with the others. Just kind of right on top of all of it to add some more variety as well. About like this. Feel free to make some adjustments. I kind of have this weird space right here that I'm not super in love with that's kind of blank, so I might go back to my green and my leaves and add just a little bit more up here, and then go back to my flowers and do the same thing. So we'll go back to my water brush and add just a little bit more up here, just to kind of fill that section out a little bit better, so it's not so bare. So kind of do whatever you feel is right to complete your picture. And then we will go ahead and add some shadows underneath these. So let's add a new layer, drag it below our 3 kind of arching layers, the branches, the leaves, and the flowers. Right underneath that, click on the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply to change the layer style so that we get a nice shadow. And then we will find the 5th color on the top row, select that, and we are going to switch back to our soft brush under the airbrushing category. Let's increase the size maybe to 15%, And I am just going to kind of lightly follow where all of our branches and flowers are to just kind of create a nice shadow underneath them. Like so. If they go over the door, that is fine, since they're right next to it. Just about like that. And then lastly, we will add some nice light coming in on top of our entire picture. So let's go to our layer menu, add a new layer above all of our layers now. Again, click on this end so that we can change the layer style, and this time we're going to drag it up to soft light. Grab the first color on the first row of our color palette, and then select the selection tool again with rectangle and color fill turned on. I'm just going to make 4 like vertical rectangles of varying widths, going all the way from the top off the bottom. So I'll maybe do that one, maybe a skinnier one, a fairly skinny one, and another one. Just kind of varying widths and place them however you would like. Then we're going to click the arrow tool. Make sure it is set to freeform. We're going to first use this green bar to rotate it just a little bit, and then I'm going to use each side to lengthen the rectangles so they go back off the screen after we rotated them. Go ahead and kind of adjust the placement if you need to, maybe widen it up a little if you need to fill more space. About right there. Then I'm going to click the wand icon, click Gaussian blur, and let's adjust that to maybe 10 to 15% somewhere in there to kind of soften the edges there. And then let's go ahead and go to our layer menu again, and now you can click on this SL again to bring up the menu, and you can drag the opacity down a little if you need to. If it's too bright, I am probably going to drag mine to about 80%, just so it's not so bright. But that just kind of adds a nice little layer of light to our picture to kind of add some life to it. And that is our final step. So once that is done, you are done with the drawing today. I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you'd like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.